everyone, and thank you for coming to our talk today. And in this quick 45-minute short lunchtime session, I'm going to quickly go through the Black Farmers Market, how we came to be, why, and what we plan to do for the future. And I'm so grateful also to be joined on the panel by Annie from Earth Tenders and Sandra from Go Grow with Love, also, who are going to be talking about their experiences, and hopefully Flavian, the Kenyan pig farmer, will be joining us as well and live streaming in. Sorry about the speed. I feel like I'm moving really fast, but I'm feeling time. I'm feeling time pressures. Should I play this video as well? Yeah, okay.
Alkaline market yard and food forest. It's a blessing and an honor to be here today at Brixton First Black Farmers Market. As you can see, we're sold out before the market is finished, so it's a sign of greater things to come. 80% of what we sell on the stall here today has been produced by us at Naples Grass, Good Oaks Farm, and we will never improve it. We also bring in exotic food to show say from farm to farm it's better for us, and we can trace our food better. So it's been a blessing and an honor for Natasha to invite us here. Black and roots farmer, you come and give and endorse us, it's always an honor.
So this is our mission statement. So we created the Black Farmers Market because we needed a space that spoke to our cultures, somewhere that was inclusive, somewhere that was accessible and affordable to our community, and somewhere that we could take up space and really hold that space at a time when our community is being pushed out by gentrification. And also a space that celebrates Black entrepreneurs. And we do that by removing the barriers that we found in other spaces, other markets, especially like the farmers market movement across London. So I'm going to go through our theory of change. Oh, yeah, that's not there. Okay. The slide looks different, sorry. But yeah, the reason why I'm going to briefly go through our theory of change is because our Black Farmers Market events are our shop front. They're our platform. It's, the end show, but it doesn't kind of demonstrate everything else that we do to get our growers, our small Black businesses, and the charities and social enterprises that we work with ready to show up for the community in this way. So there's a lot more that we're doing behind the scenes, and a lot more that we plan to do moving forward. So one of the first things that's really important to us is education. We're focused on sharing knowledge and skills within the community. We want to amplify the voices of people within our community that are fighting in the environmentalism and agricultural sector. At every market that we've had, we've done free live permaculture sessions and workshops so people can come along and learn how to grow. We then have a Black bookseller who people, after they've found out this is how you do this, they can then go to the bookseller and buy a book, buy a Black permaculture writer at our market and just continue that learning. We also know that the people that are delivering this information are also advising on different groups and places that people can go to if they want to do a level 1 in horticulture or just volunteer at another local community-led space where they don't feel like a minority. We also have herbalism and foraging workshops at the market. Ali's going to talk a bit more about that. And we also introduced Black-led forest school as well for under 10s at this last year's markets. And as I said, that's all free to the people that come along and to the public. And it's free because we pay for it. So we're supporting Black-led community organisations by paying them to deliver as well at our markets. circular economy. So we call this closing the loop. Myself, I have a business, I make sauces. It's another thing that I do. And when people come to me and they say, okay, I'm investing in you because I'm investing in black business, it's great, but at the same time, it kind of stings because I know that I'm going to have to buy my ingredients from outside the black community. And one of the main reasons why we created the Black Farmers Market is because we want to encourage more black people into growing. I want to be able to buy the ingredients for my sauces from a black farm and then, keep that pound circulating within our community for as long as possible. We are committed to rejecting the model of excessive waste and pollution of the capitalist system. And instead, we want to encourage circulating products, materials, and knowledge whilst regenerating nature. That's our focus. We want to dismantle power structures. We want to be disruptive. We want to support the investment in black businesses and the black economy in general. And we've done that in the past 2 years by giving out, either in the first year, kind of buying things that some of our growers needed. Last year, it was by giving out micro grants. We created an incubator table last year as well, so people that were really new with their ideas or their businesses. So we had some 2 ladies who make honey. You don't make honey. Bees do. But you get where I'm going with this. In North London, and it was the first time they've ever sold, and they sold out so quickly. So it's about going, okay, here, let's hold your hand. And we keep it accessible, we keep it affordable, and also offering advice and guidance to people that are new and starting up. Another big piece for us is the narrative change. We want to challenge negative stereotypes of farming in the black community, of it being linked to poverty, of it not being professional, of it being linked to forced labour, and show that there is beauty in it and that the connection between nature, agriculture, and black excellence is natural. As the little girl said, we want to encourage positive representations in this space of melanated people. And we're also very much about reclaiming and rediscovering ancestral and cultural practices and knowledge that was lost to us, really gaining that back and feeding that into our work. In all of our events, we prioritize black joy, fun, and success. Health and well-being. So at our last market, we managed to get a food van and we got these 3 amazing chefs in there, and they were taking food from our traders and showing that, okay, this is your cultural recipe. I know you love this. You don't have to buy this ingredient that comes from the other side of the world. This grows seasonally here in the UK. You can cook this dish with this ingredient in a way that's flavoursome to you and your family, and that's also affordable. And then after they've done those demonstrations, they handed out the samples of the food to the community for free as well. Because if it's good enough for Taste of London, it's good enough for us. Why not? We have street family Zumba, as you can see the people dancing at all of our events, because we want to get people moving. We want to, as time goes on, and one of our aims as well is about showing a more holistic side to our health as well. So we start with Zumba, but we in the future see black-led skating groups, hiking, swimming, trail running. We want to shift the understanding of health in the black community and provide free, accessible and affordable opportunities as much as possible. And then lastly, access to land justice. So this is an ongoing piece of work. We're still really pummeling at, but we want to capture the stories. There's so many people in our community that are struggling to get a foothold, to get a piece of land, a space to call their own, and to grow, to feed ourselves. And there's so many barriers, and we want to be a part of the movement that helps to collate those stories and helps with disrupting discriminatory systems and really challenging policy. So we are working with researchers and we are trying to collect those stories. And then on the flip side also, as Black Farmers Market, we have also been offered a small piece of land and we're now getting into growing as well. And we want to learn ourselves, learn through doing, and support our community as well, giving opportunities in a space in South London where people can learn how to grow their own as well. Hopefully I haven't rambled too much. Moving on to the next, Sandra from Go Grow With Love. And I've got, I think, do you want to play your video now? Or do you want to talk a bit first? It's up to you.
Which video?
On the next slide.
Oh, yeah, you can play
yeah?
it. Yeah,
okay.
That does all the talking. So I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, look at you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I'm supposed to talk.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you like me to say? I'm joking. My name is Sandra Salazar. I am the founder of Go Grow With Love. It's a very young community interest company that supports families, children, women, pretty much everybody to grow food with love. With a very specific and special focus on melanin-rich women, African Caribbean women. And the reason for that is because I wanted to learn more about, or share more about the traditional way of growing with my sisters, but also because I recognized that there was some trauma, should we say, in a very light way, attached to us. And I believe that nature helps with that. It helped me. So I wanted to share that with my sisters. That was primarily the reason why we started the Soil Sisters group, so that we can support each other and our children and share and cry and dance and pretty much have a safe space to release and grow. So that's what we do. And we are very blessed to have a platform called the Black Farmers Market, where we can come and showcase the food that we grow and the products that we create from the food that we grow, and all the other creative entrepreneurial bits that we do on the side, like incense and other T-shirts and clothes and tools. And then we do that to raise funds for the project, because we do it for love. You know, we're community interest companies. We don't do it for profit. We do it for love. For love doesn't always pay the bills. We get seeds for free because we harvest our seeds. We practice seed sovereignty, but there's things that sometimes we need to pay for, like such as the land. So at this moment, we raising funds to pay for the land that you just seen there, because it's we may be losing it because of the inflation, cost of living, council, local authority, all of that good stuff that affects us all. What else can I say? I hand it over to Ali.
Thanks for having me. My name's Ali. I'm a community grower, educator from London, and I've been a land worker for about 8 years. I got into land work. My family on my mum's side Jamaican, so my mum has always been very in touch with bringing herbal medicine to the forefront of everything we do. We used to grow a lot of veg at home, and on my grandparents' side, both sides were farmers on my mum's side. So I feel like rich in stories of growing on the land and kind of going back to Jamaica quite often in my early 20s and just having these reconnections with farmers out there and starting to build up a land practice and develop kind of an idea around what I wanted that to be in the UK. And on my dad's side, I'm British, English, and so I've just been, discovering through my dad's lineage as well, also land workers, beekeepers, what that looks like, reconnecting with ancestral roots here as well and weaving that into that practice. So I guess, being invited to come down to the Black Farmers Market was so beautiful because it's merging these kind of two spaces for me of being like in this country and going to all these farmers markets, which were very like British veg and very white, and then coming to the farmers market and just feeling like just rich in just everything that is like black farming, black products. I guess I've been travelling around different spaces, building with different communities in South London, growing food, making medicinal products, the products we bring to the market. So we mostly create herbal remedies. So we'll make things like calendula balms, and I think it's such a beautiful thing that Natasha got us down and invited us to share this medicine with people, because I think people come and they're initially just very like, oh, how do you do this? Like, how am I going to do this? And then ultimately they end up telling you all these family stories that they have, their connections to plants they already know, and I feel like it just dispels this myth that you need to have certification to call yourself a herbalist, and that we're all herbalists, like whatever your grandmother knew, that's herbalism, like everyone has traditions. And I feel like it's such a beautiful space just that people come and you've got grandmothers. I had a friend's uncle sat with me most of the day. Friends come in. My mum helped me this year. Idman, my friend here, like my partner came. Like it was so communal and just so rich. And it's just a beautiful celebration in the streets, reclaiming Brixton on a Sunday, which is usually completely dead, and bringing this vitality. People coming and collecting on the end of the table there. You have like teas, people just coming and trying teas, people coming and making tea bags. So we gave out like 150 balms this market, and then over 300 tea bags. We were there the previous year, so it was really nice just seeing people also who had come before and had decided to like come back to the space. People coming from Birmingham, all over, and being supported through these micro grants that Natasha was talking about. So I recently started a project called Earth Tenders, where it registers a CIC, but the idea is to be kind of an urban revitalisation project and grow food and vegetables. We're seeking land at the moment. And we're also building like an archiving project. So I'd like to like archive a lot of the farming traditions, a lot of the elders' stories, and I guess get into more researching as well and like understanding how that can be part of us reclaiming bits of land, because there is land in London. It's just the accessing points and really having an idea of how to tap into that. So gratitude for being here.
Hopefully we can be joined by Flavian, also known as the Kenyan pig farmer. Fingers crossed.
Hello, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yay!
I'm here. My name is Flavian. Originally a pig farmer, but now I've also got sheep and goats, and I'm also trying to be a butcher. As you can see, I've just come from my butchery shift today, and thank you for having me today on this panel to talk about how amazing the Black Farmers Market was and what amazing work Natasha, Obi, and others have done to bring such a market to us, Black people, and people from other ethnicities that filled Brixton that day that I was there in September.
Yeah. Please tell us about your experience on the day, what it was like leading up to, and what you have planned for the future, I suppose.
So actually, it was my first ever market since having the farm that we have in Hampshire. We're on a council farm for the next 7 years, and I was looking for every excuse not to go. And it's not normally like me, but I don't know why. I just felt really nervous. It's something I'd never done before. I was out of my comfort zone. And in the end, I just thought, you know what? I've always seen, like last year, I saw the Black Farmers Market, and I've always wanted to be involved with it. I've been involved from far in the sense of always sort of cheering Natasha from the sideline, and I thought I need to be there in person and experience it. And I've never felt sort of so energized at a market before like I did that day. I managed to get my two friends, Agnes, who's a Kenyan, and Rajan, who's Indian, to come and help me. And the day was it just flew by. It was stressful getting everything sorted. I had to borrow a van from a friend, which meant driving to Sussex an hour away to get the van, come back home, pick up all my stuff, go to London in the evening. I had to drive back to Sussex to get my truck. But sort of the people that I met on the day, as you said before, they're about aunties and uncles. I remember actually one of my first customers I still talk to now, she told me off for not having a business card because I said, oh, you can just go on Instagram. She was like, my generation don't use Instagram. You need to have a business card for us. And it felt like my mum telling me off. And but she did buy some goat and she complimented me on how good it was. So I took that on the chin. And I'd say I wish we had more markets like that across the country, and I'm sure Natasha's got plans to have a few Black Farmers Markets dotted around in cities across the country and towns. Because I think, as has been said before, the way our cultures look at food compared to, let's say, the English culture is a bit different. And yes, there's nothing in difference. It's good to have different views of food and how food is consumed. But I've found that dealing with sort of an English crowd, because I do other markets, like at friends' farms in Sussex, sort of people know what they know and they sort of stick to what they know. Whereas I found in Brixton, you're having people sort of going for what they know. Let's say they go to and asking, what's this? How can I cook this? Because I cook this like this. And having that deeper conversation about food, people asking me, what do these pigs eat? How are they slaughtered, or how are the goats slaughtered? Is it halal? All those conversations, which you probably never have with with English consumers, because people don't want to link a live animal and a bit of steak. Whereas our cultures, for me growing up, if a guest comes, you got to go get the chicken, slaughter it, pluck it, get it ready to be put on the table. You don't go to the shop and buy the chicken. So that relationship of food and the discussion around or beyond that bit of meat in front of you, I really enjoyed getting involved with that, because I'm pretty keen on bridging the gap between the farmer and the consumer, because I think there's such a big gap between the food on the table, or who eats the food on the table, and who produces the food that gets to your table. And markets like Black Farmers Market and a few others I've been to are good to try and build that story, because like for us on the farm, we've just started, we're 8 months in, so we don't have a bottomless pit, and you try and do everything you can to try and make the money last long without compromising things like ethics and environmental stuff. So like currently I've just got a trailer delivered outside by my neighbor of wheat and barley, which is growing 3 miles from me. Another neighbor is bringing beans. After this Zoom, I've got to go out and wait for a lorry to come and mill feed for the pigs. So we're using feed that's soy-free because of trying to have low environmental impact, trying to reduce our carbon footprint. And if I was to be selling this product to a supermarket or an open market where no one sees who's producing it, that story gets lost. Whereas if I'm at Black Farmers Market, I can do all that spiel. So that by the time someone's buying the meat, they're already sold on the store before they've even eaten it. So yeah, I think having markets like you and Natasha are definitely good for bridging that gap between consumer and producer. And future plans, attend all the markets next year. I don't want to miss any. I want to be there for every single one. I need to get more goat because the number of phone calls I'm getting from people in Brixton saying, "Goat man, when are you coming back?" So I need to. That's my plan for this year, to try and get more goat. And I think just keep engaging with the public and the Black community. I'm hoping in the summer or spring even to try and organise a trip from people in London or any cities, because we're quite close to Bristol as well, Portsmouth, Southampton, to get people down to the farm and come and have a look, because we've got a 7-acre woodland that people can walk around and just embrace nature, get a bit muddy, and yeah, hopefully building a butchery in the next few weeks on the farm. So yeah, plenty of things going on.
Amazing.
Thank you for the opportunity again.
Thank you for your time. Thank you, Flavia.
No worries.
I think I'll just leave it like this as we open the floor to questions. Hey. Is there a mic? Yes.
First of all, Flavian, it's lovely to see you. It's Jazina. I'm glad you've diversified to goats, because I don't eat swine. So I'm very happy to see you at the next market. So a question for Natasha, but also the panel. I loved coming to the Black Farmers Market and just wanted to challenge a bit. Let's imagine you're in an unfriendly room with an unfriendly audience, and when you're talking about a circular economy and black farms going into black products and food from the black farmers' stalls going into foods cooked by chefs who can do culturally appropriate foods, why is that important? Like, what is the necessity of a circular economy?
I feel so stuck right now. Sorry. You guys have an answer? Because I don't want to take over the whole floor. Actually, no. Do you know? Let me answer. It's important to know that we're feeding our own community. So from the point of view of ingredients coming from the black community, the first thing that comes to mind is what Flavian was talking about in the stories that are lost in our food, how much love and care goes into it. Throughout being at this conference, there's been multiple conversations about connection to food and how it's spiritual, and what's lost. It's lost to our community. We are so separated from the land, from the environment, and therefore from the food that's produced from it. And so from that side, from a spiritual side, it's so important to have it. From the point of view of where the black community sits socioeconomically, we've got a lot of work to do. And so it's very important that money comes into our community and stays in the community for as long as possible, because I don't want to be here 10 years' time still talking about how my community is struggling and all the different barriers that we're coming up against. There was another point I was going to make, but it's jumped out of my head. If anyone has anything else they'd like to add to it, or not, we can move on to another question. Flavian, anyone?
I'd like to add something to it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I think also it's important because we get to share our stories and we get to remember things that perhaps we've forgotten growing up to do with our grandparents, because food holds a lot of story. You know, I remember doing, we call it favish. What's favish? Favish, the little green bean, broad beans, you know. I don't know if you guys remember, like back in the days. And because we're, families, they're farmers, we don't, and back, our families are big, so we don't just buy a few, a big bag. And you had to sit there in the kitchen with Nana for an hour doing that, taking the pods, the seeds out of the pods, so that we can all eat. So I also feel that that's part of the reason is to be able to tell those stories, to be able to unlock those memories that are forgotten.
Yeah, I'd probably also that signposting. I feel like being in Brixton was so important because you have all those storefronts. So if someone says to me like, oh, so where can I get more of this herb? I'm like, well, there's this guy under the bridge on Pope's Lane. There's this shop here, Ness and Matt. There's the Brixton Whole Foods there if you want to support a different type of business as well, but like still a cooperative. So I'm like, there's this kind of interconnection which was happening that I feel like people maybe weren't as aware that there were so many thriving black businesses across London who were already selling these herbs, these products, and who you could support. Because that, the market being like this thing that happens like once like a month, but then also like these stores being there every day and like making these connections that who's already available to us. So kind of the continuity.
Unless you wanted to add something to that, Flavian. Any more questions?
Well, I was just going to say that also the fact that I talk about the memories and growing up, a lot of people in the black and brown community are immigrants, or I'd like to sometimes say expats, because when English people go live in Kenya, they don't get called immigrants, so we're expats as well. And we don't always find what we used to eat back home in the general supermarkets. So if no one else is gonna stock stuff for us to eat and remember where we've come from and keep our cultures. I moved here when I was 15. I don't want to forget that I'm Kenyan. I still speak Swahili, etc. So when I go home, I like to eat things that we used to eat back home. And if the only place I can get that is from a black vendor, if supermarkets don't want to capitalize on that, then that's what we need to do. And I don't think it should be seen as a negative. And I see elements of it, especially in farming. It's quite a non-diverse industry. You always hear people asking, well, why do we have to do this? Why do we have to do that? But then when it comes to like religious celebrations like Kabani and Eid, they know they're going to get a lot of money for mutton. A lot of farmers are probably anti-immigration, will lap up the money they're going to get in Eid because they know these communities value mutton or goat or other meat. So you can't have your cake and eat it. And that's one of the reasons I like advocating for Black Farmers Market, because I push it out to people and say, look, if you could grow callaloo on your 1,000-acre farm, you would make an absolute bomb, because all the communities in London and all other cities that can't get fresh callaloo will be stocking. People drive miles. I know friends that go to Leicester for spices that live in London. So, yeah.
Absolutely. We don't want to buy it in cans all the time. Question.
Thank you. I direct a Farmers of Color network in the Southeast United States and Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. And part of our program is market access, doing exactly what you're doing, creating those market avenues, rather than be farmers market, wholesale, But also there's an education piece, especially when like selling meats and goods that are made at home, like your value-added type products and stuff. Is that a part of kind of what you all are doing as well, or do you see that kind of coming in the future if there are certain regulations around selling meat and those type of things at the markets?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I think briefly mentioned in one of the sections, one of the things that we do, especially when we're saying we're incubating businesses, is we have said you need insurance. If anything happens, if someone gets sick from something that they buy from you, you need to be covered. You need to, if you've got a food business, be registered with your local authority. We can show you the links, we can talk you through it, we can support you through that, and we do that. As I said, with the micro grants as well, if you need another seed bed, if you need to spend it on a card reader, if you need to spend it on transport to and from the market, it wasn't restricted in how you could use it, but it was about getting you to a place where you're market and people ready. Obviously, we're looking out for our customers. We don't want anyone to be harmed by anything that's sold at our market, but also we're looking out for our entrepreneurs, where we want them to leave our market that bit better. We want to bring people up to a standard. Sometimes there's this perception that, black business doesn't meet a certain standard, and we want to totally dispel that it does. Everyone that comes to our markets, if you want to go and do another market somewhere else the following week, you should be signed off and good to go. you should be able to trade everywhere else. And that's part of also what we do. We're saying, we're good enough. We're good enough to take up space. We're taking up this space right now here for us, but we should be everywhere. We should be doing more of this, and there should be more of us doing more of this. And what we want to create, of course I'm talking, is a kind of a blueprint. We want to share that. We don't want to hold on to the knowledge. Like I said, we want to share the knowledge. We want to share the skills, because we want more melanated people growing our food, raising the animals, teaching and sharing herbal and holistic medicine and our cultural and ancestral practices, and then really recognizing that, yeah, this is where they came from. We're so proud of them. We want to do more of them. So yes, the whole capacity building within the community of both the growers and the street food traders, which didn't really feature, and the businesses as well, because we have small black businesses as well that show up at the market and sell everything from kids products to books to creams, hair products, packaged food. Yeah, the standard.
Yeah, I guess I'll add to that, yeah, the aspiration is with access to land, that definitely create products, like 100%, because, you know, there's grants out there to support things like dehydrators, ways that we could scale up a little bit more. But I feel like at the moment it's just been selling a service for me, because it doesn't feel right to, the only thing that was grown for this market was the calendula, which was used in the balm. But the beeswax, the oil, that's not ours. That's something we bought in. So I just feel like I want the whole process to be there to create the product. So it just felt so intention-led. But I guess that's just building, and then we can be on the level that Sandra's on and making rose water and the salts and the dried herbs. So, yeah. Slowly.
Any more questions? We've got 5 minutes left.
It's not a question. That's louder than I thought. It was louder than everybody else's. I was only just what you said about a blueprint. I was struggling to think of the right word, and blueprint was the right word. I figure also I'm in Herefordshire. I used to live in London, and I also think that what you're doing is a real blueprint for loads of other farmers markets that are struggling to reconnect loads of people with their food. And it's really exciting to see what you're doing as a blueprint. And I'm like, okay, well, how are they doing that? How are they getting the street vendors to use the stuff that's been grown? Because that's like one of the things that kind of like we need to work on in kind of our, you know, how are we getting our farmers markets to actually be farmers markets and not just a sort of sham of a farmers market. And I can see you guys doing all that stuff really, really well. So you're supporting yourselves as a community, but then also, you know, you're doing it at such a level that I can also learn from it, and that's really exciting too. So I just thanks, and I'm going to keep learning from you.
Thank you. That's beautiful.
Just to add on to that as well, to what we're talking about, it's important to highlight that London is a very diverse city. So the melanin-rich population is quite large in London as opposed to the rest of the country. So this is why it's so important as well, because like the brother said, you know, there's foods that we want to cook with, or the crops that we want to cook with, that we can't get it here. So when people go back home, it's like, you've got a big list, yeah, can you bring me this, can you bring me that? But hey, it does. So it does work better if we choose to grow the stuff that we eat here and make those adaptations.
Hi, yeah, sorry, I'm moderating questions from online. Okay. So there is one comment that someone has made, and it's Flax Project CIC. They're in Plymouth, and they would love to share some information with you if you look them up and contact them. So they've left that comment. And then there's a question asking, do you have guidelines or criteria for what people can sell at the market, and perhaps where they can find that information?
Absolutely. So we had obviously Google Docs with information on the things that we know were a no-go, that we couldn't sell, and for products, I guess, and services and stuff that we were looking for, but with an open mind that someone might come with something that we didn't even register, and that we take on. And hopefully that's going to be a lot more neat and tidy in 2024. If it's not already on our website, then it usually goes out in our application forms and packs when we open up for applications.
And can I just add on that, you know, we really have to, when we're taking up space, we have to work with different, we have to work with the council especially, we have to work with the council and their health and safety team, and so we really have to be, we have to represent traders to get through the really tricky barriers that the local councils, the local authorities, the health and safety put up, and they are putting up barriers that aren't right, and they are not understanding our cooking processes, they're not understanding our foods, they're not understanding our products, and so then they say, no, sorry, you're not going to be trading on this day. And so we, as Black Farmers Market, we really work to educate and to advocate for our traders to be there on that day and show up and take up space.
Thank you.
I just want to say that absolutely love you, Natasha, and the vision that you have had to bring this forward, because it goes deeper than just, you know, having people at market. In our cultures, that market is a central part of our whole community. A whole network happens right there in the market. If you look on the global stage, this whole world is a marketplace. And we understood from our community that the market is like the belly of our community. And what your vision has done is to bring that back. And I've been there, taken a stall in Brixton Market, and the energy and the vibe. And I think a lot of these European or English farmers and other areas this lady was talking about, just coming in and seeing the whole culture, the energy. I think that kind of exchange is going to be so important, you know. So I really applaud you for the vision that you've had, and whoever else is working with you on this project. Thank you.
Hi, Natasha. So, continually inspired by what you're doing. Great to see you, Flav. I just wondering, and I think I asked this before, but I'm quite serious in wondering if the seeds are there, if there's any sort of planning ideas for expansion to other cities around the UK, because, you know, for all of those who live outside London, it sometimes gets annoying that London's like the center of the universe, and it's not. and so I sort of think, oh, how can I get to London to this market? And I'm just like, God, that's a tall ask to get there, and the cost to get there. But it sounds amazing, and to be able to sort of bring that to other communities and get other communities to establish something like that.
We really do. I mean, at the moment, I'm in London. Obi can also say something. Go on. She's chomping at the bit. Give it time.
What we need is we need people we need Black and brown people in leadership and in those decision-making roles. And so if you know of anyone, or if exactly, if you know of anyone, or if you know of someone who's in a position of power. So for example, the way that we got Brixton was because there was a Black guy who was a part of the market trader team and understood us, and still goes through loops and things, but we definitely need people who are in local authority, who have access to existing markets, private markets, for example, and who are in those roles where they can coordinate the street teams and etc. But yeah, people who have access to open up those gates.
Okay, then let's talk about Cardiff.
Okay. Yeah.
I sit on the board of directors for the Cardiff Farmers Market.
I was in your talk.
Connection.
Okay, we have to stop now because the next talk is in 10 minutes. Sorry, guys. It's okay. But thank you so much, everybody that came, people online as well, Flavian, for tuning in, and also to fantastic growers that are here on the panel. Amazing. I have nothing more to say.